Today's service call is on a consistent water leak coming from the roof. Manager says that this pipe coming out the wall right there has been leaking consistently, and they're concerned that the ACs must be overflowing onto the roof, causing an issue. So you can clearly see that we have an active water leak, and you can actually hear it dripping down. So that's a pretty big leak there. So let's hop up onto the roof and have a look at the ACs. So coming off the ladder, it's odd because that pipe is like right here. And there's nothing there, there's no water. Let's walk over here and have a look at the ACs. Let's see what's going on, because we see active leaks there, or active leaking. This area over here, no water. Here's our AC, one of them. We got 3 ACs on this roof. Come over here. Drain line, it's not overflowing. No water in the AC. You can't see this, but I can see it. The drain pan's not overflowing. We clearly have a loose belt, but that's another problem. Let's keep looking at the ACs. I mean, I'm not seeing water on the roof. Remember, this is actively leaking, you know, like, so this should be obvious. There's I can see it, you guys can't, but there's no overflowing water in that drain pan. All of these guys drain over. Well, this is the last AC right here, so we're following this drain line. It's going down right here to that roof jack right there. Okay, so let's look at this AC. Nothing, no overflowing water. No water in here, no water in that drain pan. Something's going on here because it's actively dripping and there's no water in the drain pan. So let's go follow this and try to find where this water leak's coming from. Keep in mind, you can use things that are on the roof or things in a restaurant as a guide, okay? So see this flue pipe right here? That's a combustion vent for probably a water heater. Right next to it is a drain line going down. Okay, so let's keep that in mind when we go downstairs. And all of that is in line with this roof ladder. So there's nothing coming down the wall right here going up. There's nothing coming down the wall, like right in this area. There is a sewer right here. Let's follow this back. Where's that coming from? So we've got a water line right there. We have some sort of a drain. So the manager's thinking that the water from the ACs is overflowing onto the roof and coming out of roof drain. But this is our roof drain right here. This is the roof drain that it would be coming out if it was overflowing onto the roof, or there's probably 4 more in the building. So let's go over here. Water line, it's leaking down, running outside. Oh, we got a mechanical room right here. Okay. Okay. So what's interesting? So we've got water all over the floor. We've got oh, look at that. An overflowing floor drain. I don't think that's our problem. Oh, check it out. That's our flue vent right there going up. And remember, we were to the side of that flue vent was where that drain was at. Okay, so the drain, this is a wall going into the building. The drain is on the other side of this wall for all the ACs. Okay, so let's clear on over here. Oh, look at this. This right here looks to be some sort of this is the main drain for the water coming into the building. Now, I think this is for the fire system. I think. Yeah, this is for the fire sprinkler system. And I'm not a plumber or a fire sprinkler technician, but to me, this right here is a drain so you can drain the entire system. And this looks to be some sort of a pressure relief. So let's have a look. Okay, so we're approximately 18 inches from the edge of this wall is that pipe. So let's walk around here. I think that pipe is that. Yeah. Edge of that wall is probably about right here because they have a facade, a brick facade, 18 inches over. That, let's listen. That is actively leaking. You can hear it. I thought it was draining, but it's not. It's actively leaking from one of these valves, whether it be this or this. So if we stick our head up to it, that main valve is leaking. It's not shutting. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I knew what the problem was right when I walked in the door. I just showed you guys my process and my troubleshooting process if I didn't. I'm very familiar with this location. The moment I walked in the door, the manager told me that they had a water leak. It was consistent. She said she went on the roof. She didn't see any water, but they've had the fire sprinkler company and the plumber out here, and both of them said it was just drainage from the roof and that they needed to call the HVAC guy because it's probably the AC is just leaking. But from walking in the door, I could tell that that's not an AC leak, okay? So apparently they just had a plumber here too, repairing this drain because it was plugged up and they had to jackhammer the floor and they already fixed it. But apparently the entire time that one was overflowing. You can clearly tell that it's been overflowing for a very long time. This is just incompetence, is what this is. I'm not a plumber, I'm not a fire sprinkler fitter. I don't deal with fire sprinkler systems, I don't drain them. But I can tell you in 2 seconds that this valve right here is leaking. I can hear it. I could stick my head up to it and I can hear it leaking by. This is an old valve. Manager actually said that the problem started after they came and serviced the fire system, the sprinkler system, and more than likely when they did that, they drained all the sediment out of the system because these lines build up a lot of nastiness and dark colored water and stuff, and they'll drain them occasionally. And when they were done servicing it, that's when the manager thinks that the leak started. So this right here is leaking by. So they need to get the company out here. I'm not going to touch that system. I'm not certified to work on it. But this is the kind of stuff that we run into in these restaurants, is everybody pointing fingers. Instead of pointing fingers, I dig into it because I could have easily said that's not an AC problem and walked out the door. But instead, I'm going to figure it out for them, point it out, tell them what the problem is. So that way, it's not just me pointing a finger, it's me saying, it's not my problem. You need to call these people. Now, I don't just stop there. I take a big picture approach to this. I said, hey, I'm here because before I said 100% that was the problem, I went and inspected all the ACs. There's loose belts, there's dirty condensers, there's freeze stat warnings on one of the ACs. So with the manager's permission, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up their equipment and troubleshoot it and diagnose it. So they called me here for a water leak, found the water leak, found the source of the water leak, but we look bigger than that. But we always ask the manager's permission. With their permission, hey, I'm here, your ACs are in bad shape, would you like me to service them, clean them up, and let you know if there's any issues with them? And they said, yes, please, you're here. So let's get our stuff up on the roof. We're gonna rope it up and get cleaning. Got all my equipment up here, roped it all up, prepared. I try to be as organized as possible. Again, I'm not perfect, okay? I don't want anybody to think that. But, you know, things like I try to take care of my rope. I've had that rope for a couple years now. It's in good shape because I keep it off the ground when I'm on the roof, right? But I keep a section downstairs so that way if I need to rope something up, it's an easy process. So it's going all the way down there and it's just down at the bottom. I have a hook. So now I'm gonna go down and hook up my water and get it running. So the condenser itself has a layer of grease, and it's because of the relativity of these exhaust fans. It's typical at this location. So we're gonna get that cleaned off. We just installed this AC about 5 months ago. Pulled the side panels off. We'll get in here, we'll clean. Got to be careful with this micro channels. Now the really tricky thing is that grease is in here too, and this is really difficult to clean. So it's important that they do routine maintenance. I wonder how long that's gonna fare because that aluminum doesn't look good already. All right, so we got all sides. Now another thing to consider too on these units is these new ones have sensors right here. So we need to be careful. These look like watertight connectors, but we still don't want to get them saturated and create problems, right? See, there's sensors on all of them, on all the headers. They can probably sense high temps and stuff. All the condensers are dirty. Same thing, just grease. So we're gonna get in there and get them all cleaned. So I got a bunch of different cleaners here. These two are essentially the same thing. The Viper heavy duty cleaner and the Viper yellow venom pack, micro channel safe. We're not gonna hurt anything. The brightener cleaner is for tube and fin condensers. You don't want to use it on microchannel, but even on tube and fin, man, that stuff can really etch a coil. Etching it is when it eats the top layer of the coil off, so you got to be really careful. You'll disintegrate aluminum in no time with that. I already got some of the Viper HD because I had that bottle in my van. We're going to get it on the coil and start cleaning. We're all cleaned up. Now it's time to blow out the condenser. You would be surprised how much water these things hold. Even after washing it and letting it sit, it just holds all that water. And look, I already blew this out and it's still got water in it. So you got to take your time, get all that out, especially if you're going to be troubleshooting the unit. And you got to make sure you rinse all your cleaner out too, because number one, if you're using like a corrosive cleaner, like the brightener cleaner that etches the coil, you know, you don't want to leave any of that on there because it could damage whatever's left, right? If you're using a tube and fin condenser or something. But on this, even with the Viper Venom Pack, the yellow one, or the Viper HD cleaner, which is non-corrosive, doesn't hurt anything, if you turn the condenser on and there's still water and cleaner on there, it'll actually create bubbles, and then you'll start sucking bubbles all up into the bottom of the motor, the top of the motors. It'll shoot it out the top. It looks funny and it's awesome. I call it a bubble party, but you could severely damage a motor and cause some serious issues. You got to be careful about that. Not only do you have to worry about the motors, because this is a PSC motor right here, now they're using ECM motors, so I could only imagine the price of this fancy guy right here. I bet you that thing's a ridiculous amount of money. So it looks like it's totally enclosed, but still, yeah, it is. It's totally enclosed. Still, you don't want to be shooting water all over that, and you don't want to be shooting bubbles and stuff. So you always got to think big here, right? And remember, clean is clean. All right. Now, of course, you got to talk to your management and the customer and see how good of a job they want. But still, clean means clean. So do it right. Do it well. You know, that way we're not coming back again. We're done. This is my last AC. This is their kitchen AC. I've gotten all the other ones done. This one's really, really dirty. The stuff coming out of it's just really discolored and nasty. Just a bunch of gunk. So, you know, the trick to the Refrigeration Technologies cleaners, any one of those over there, any of the Venom Packs or the Viper HD, well, I take that back. The trick to the yellow cleaners, the Viper HD or the yellow Venom Pack condenser coil cleaner, is to pre-soak the condenser and let the cleaner sit on there for a little bit. Let it break everything down, then rinse it off. With the blue brightener, you need to get it on and off because that's just going to etch the coil really bad. So we're going to keep rinsing this guy out, and then we still got to tighten the belt up on this one. I've been checking everything. So for that one right there, blew out the drain, checked the belt. This one right here, blew out the drain, checked the belt. And I'm pulling the condenser covers off completely on the side. So that way we can really get in here and get them clean. These wands really help you to get in here and see exactly what's going on. And you just got to kind of look, try to stay level, and work your way down systematically, just nice and slow. But you see the stuff coming out of there. It's just, there's a lot of dirt in there. Microchannels, like sometimes you can see through them, but they still have a lot of dirt. You can see the discoloration every once in a while, so pretty crazy, pretty dirty. Oh yeah. All right, we are all cleaned up. All the ACs are back and running. This one has some clear indications of corrosion and or coil cleaning company using the improper cleaners. It's all over though. But this unit also doesn't have any coil coating. This one over here, I don't think it's the improper coil cleaning because this one over here doesn't really seem to have it, and it has coil cleaning or coil coating. If they were using the improper cleaners, all this coil coating would be stripped off. So I don't know. Interesting. But all their units are back on and running. I'm going to go through the circuit boards and check the history to see if there's any error codes. And also I cleaned the outside air filters, tightened up the belts, blew out the drains. So this is their kitchen AC. I like on these units how when they have a full call for cooling, it tells you the TDs. So 50 discharge air, 70 return air. Y1 and Y2 are calling. All the contactors are pulled in, all the compressors are running. So that's a good sign. No active error codes on the board. Don't see any issues with the kitchen AC. So we'll look at the other ones real quick. Let's look over to this guy. I think this one has an old Prodigy controller. Yeah, these ones are a pain in the butt. I'm gonna get it to call from downstairs, so that way we can ensure that the thermostat's working properly. All right, I have seen all the units come on. Kitchen came on its own. This one I had to turn the thermostat down, came on, it's working. No error codes in either one of those. Surprisingly, they didn't have high pressure error codes, but it's also just getting warm, so it's not too crazy. This one right here is the bar. I saw it run earlier, but I want to check the codes on the unit, okay? This is a new Linux unit we installed back in December. It has the core controller, so we're gonna go ahead and connect to it. So I've got the core app on my iPad. We're gonna go ahead and hit pair, if I remember how to do this. There we go. It's flashing, and we're gonna hit next on here, and there's my unit. And then now we're gonna go through the operation. I actually don't want it to be there. There it is right there. All the information. So we're gonna go ahead and go into it. And let's see, discharge air temperature, occupied, damper position. I love how easy this thing is. So let's go into here and go to alarm history and see what kind of alarms potentially, if any. It shouldn't have any, but let's see. Alarm 34, 254 times, the last time being 5/3, so that's today at 11:37. we had a frozen compressor number 2, low. What does that mean? Wow, look at that. All those times, 5.3, 5.2. Holy moly, all the way back to 428. It looks like it's been self-resetting. System has detected a coil freeze on circuit 2. So circuit 2 has been getting too cold on the coil. Now, this one did not have dirty filters. I mean, they're used, but they're not plugged or anything. Right? So they're not horrible. This one has airflow. The belt was tight. I didn't do anything with the belt. Only thing I did today, oh man, that blower's moving air. Okay. So something's going on. A freeze stat is open or opening for the second stage. So we're gonna need to go ahead and turn this guy on. Is that the only? It's a low severity. Reset alarm, that's just from me turning the unit on and off today. Okay. So what I need to do then, wow, okay. That's kind of cool though. Looks like it just turned on. It's like cycling. Looks like, according to this, well, we can go right here actually. Cooling. There's the second stage. The second stage compressor kind of sounded rough. So it's only calling for half a stage, 50% cooling. Okay, so I'm gonna probe up on this guy and we're gonna evaluate what's going on within the system. So I'm gonna get all my job link probes out and hook it up to measure quick and see what's up. All right, Linux, I think I found a flaw in this new core unit. How do you know which circuit is which? I get it, compressor 1, 2, 3, 4, easy peasy. But it's a micro channel condenser. There's no pressure ports on the liquid lines to tell you liquid line 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then over at the TXVs, I mean, maybe I'm not able to process this, but I mean, logic would tell me this would be the first stage, but the first stage, these capillaries, look at these things. These are coming all the way up into here. Like, this is a nightmare. I'm starting to consider you guys are being York over here. But yeah, these capillaries are coming all the way to the top of the evaporator for this TXV. Like, what the heck, man? I guess what I could do, so I'm trying to figure out how to connect my liquid lines, because I don't know which TXV is which, first, second, third, and fourth. So normally on the old ones, this was first, second, third, and fourth, but I'm trying to prove that problem, and this is a little difficult. So I guess I can maybe follow these sensors back to see which sensor's going to first stage, second stage, third stage, and fourth stage, maybe? I don't know. This is interesting. Well, best I can tell, this is my first stage, as best as I can tell, but it's interesting. Half the capillaries go to the bottom, the other half of the capillaries go all the way up to the top. What are they doing here? Remember when I installed this unit, it said humiditrol on it, and it said reheat. But I don't see, it's piped like a humiditrol. This is weird, but it doesn't have like reheat solenoids. I'm confused by this guy. Huh, okay, well, I'm gonna finish probing up. All right, I think I got it all probed right. The only thing I don't have, for some reason, I'm missing a temperature clamp for this, so I don't have a fourth discharge line. But yeah, I can already tell you, second stage, looks like we got an issue. So next thing too is they don't give you liquid line pressure ports on these anymore. You only have discharge ports. So first stage, running a 47 degree evaporator, 17 degrees subcooling, 7 degrees superheat. Go to second stage, give it a second. Way too low suction saturation temperature on the second stage. Way too low. Superheat's extremely high. This guy looks like it might be low for sure. Third stage, give it a second. Looking much better on third stage. Fourth stage. We're looking fine. And it just satisfied. I was using the thermostat demand. But yeah, that second stage to me looks like it's low in refrigerant. So I'm gonna get it running again and let it run for a few minutes and see. So I went into component test, cooling, stage 4, start test. And what's happening here? Is it going to turn all of them on? Should here in just a minute, I think. Oh wait, you know what? Stop test. Back. Start test? Is it just second stage? I can't remember how to do this. I'll have to wait a second. I know I ran into a problem when I was commissioning the unit. I couldn't remember how I figured it out. Give it a second here. Alright, it's going now. Just whatever reason. The first time I did stage 4, it didn't turn all 4 on, but now it's cycling through. So we're at the 3rd stage. It's just got a little delay, and the 4th stage should fire here in just a second. Now, you know, stages, it's kind of confusing because we have a 2-stage thermostat, Y1, Y2, but they have an algorithm built into the processor that stages the compressors accordingly. So we only need a call for 2 stages right here, Y1, Y2, and then the rest happens in the magic on the board. Okay, so now we are running. Let's go ahead and see. I don't know if I can toggle back and forth between the 2 apps. I think I can. Yeah. Let's see, it looks like I can. All right, so circuit 1, we're gonna let it run for a minute. We're looking good so far. I don't see any major issues with circuit 1, but again, it just started. But circuit 2 definitely has a really low saturation temperature of 18 degrees. Too low. Subcooling 4.5 degrees, 48 degrees superheat. Let's see what 3rd stage has to do. We gotta give it some time too for everything to build up. We're looking at 35 degrees saturation on the number 3 compressor. Superheat. And the 4th compressor. Subcooling 5.5, liquid line 80. This is discharge pressure, so we're fine. So let's go back to circuit 2 and let's kind of evaluate this as it's running. So we have low head pressure, low suction pressure, kind of low subcooling, low liquid line temp, superheat's really high, 0 degrees approach. I mean, what's interesting though is the subcooling's not that low comparative to the other ones. But it's low. Huh, that's very interesting. Certainly looks like we're a little low on refrigerant here. Let's go have a look. Our indoor blower motor should be running at full speed. Definitely is, because it's hard to open the door. TXV is frosting up right here on this guy, 2nd stage. So yeah, it is looking like it's a little low. So let's go get a little refrigerant. We're gonna top it off. I'm not fixing any leaks today, so we're just gonna get them operational, and then we'll look for a leak and potentially fix it. I don't know what warranty is on this or anything. I don't even know if there is warranty. A lot of times with these big manufacturers, they don't give much of a warranty, so we'll have to see. But I'm gonna go to get a little refrigerant. We're gonna top it off and get it to where it's not going off on freeze protection anymore. All right, before I add any refrigerant, I want to look at my liquid line filter dryer. So we have a 75 degree, 76 degree inlet on that liquid line filter dryer, and let's check the outlet. 76 degree outlet on the liquid line filter dryer. Okay, so we don't have a plugged up dryer. Let me make sure. Yeah, that's right. That's my 2nd stage. Okay, so we don't have a plugged up dryer. So we're gonna add a little bit of refrigerant to this guy and see how it reacts. Make sure I put that back on before we're done. Okay, so this guy right here. So I've got my refrigerant right here. I weighed it downstairs, so I know how much it weighs, and I'm just metering it from this guy right here. So second stage, I'm just gonna add a little bit of refrigerant, and we're gonna see how it reacts. Be careful not to overcharge. Doesn't take much on these micro-channel condensers. All right, I added a little bit, and it's definitely reacting. We actually are measurable approach temperature now. Saturation temperatures are coming up slightly, so we're just gonna let it sit for a few minutes, kind of stabilize out, then we'll try adding a little bit more. You gotta take your time on these guys. I know there's gonna be a leak because I actually had to add quite a bit of gas. So we're gonna shut the unit down. We're gonna do a leak search on it. Ideally, I wanna weigh in the charge, but I'm not gonna do that right now because I just needed to get them operational for the weekend. It's Friday afternoon. We obviously need them to have the proper cooling that they need. Second stage is looking a lot better, okay? 38-degree saturation, 85-degree condensing temp. Still a hair on the low side, but not bad. Subcooling's a lot better. Superheats, it's actually adjusting, dropped way down. We're kind of still stabilizing out. Approach, I think approach is a little bit low. Let's look at first stage, because third and fourth stage are a little misleading. It's weird because I almost wonder if first and second stage, like the capillaries are rubbing together, because first stage almost looks a little funky too. But yeah, subcooling's about the same. Second stage, I don't understand why we don't have an approach temp on that first stage. Still not in love with what's going on here, but we are going to go ahead and take it out of test mode. We've already froze them out of there, and we're going to do a leak search on it. I for sure thought there'd be something going on in here, but I, for the life of me, can't even pick up the slightest hit in here. But it's trying to understand what they're doing with these evaporators is a giant dumpster fire. As best as I can tell, they've got feeders. So this is first stage, second stage, third stage, fourth stage, and they're going into different spots. So, like, I think that this is first stage up here, second stage, part of it's right here, but the other part of second stage is going down here. So it's weird because, like, you can follow these capillaries. Half of them, these four right here, are these feeder lines, distribution lines. There's actually three. These three go to the bottom of the coil. These four go to the top of the coil. And it's the same for this. These four from the first stage TXV go all the way up to the top of the coil right there, and then the other three or something go down to the bottom. So they're like feeding both sides instead of just having first stage on the bottom, second stage, third stage, fourth stage, which actually presents a problem. I'm sure they figured out that it's more efficient and better that way, better, right? But it actually is a problem because then the outside air dampers aren't open very much. The third and fourth stage always got like lower airflow. So now they're like changing that, you know? So like, I don't know. I'm sure it's more efficient that way. I'm sure that they're much smarter than I. But yeah, I'm not picking anything up in this evaporator. It's a mess though. Like look at those liquid lines. Like the corrosion going on those from them not standing off flux or something. That's a mess. All right, well, let's go check out the condenser. I mean, I'm not gonna spend too much more time on this. I've leak checked the condenser. I've leak checked in here. And I mean, I leak checked everything. This chase right here, up into here. I will say, number one, I can't remember if I actually put pressure gauges on this because we installed this unit in December. So I don't think it was warm enough to be able to check pressures. Second, when I did get here today, a lot of these caps were loose, like finger tight. So it could have just been leaking Schraders, but you would think if it was leaking Schraders that we would have, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at the suction line below that, good grief. Look at all that corrosion. That's insane. What did they, is that soap bubbles or is that, it might be soap bubbles. They might have not cleaned off their soap bubbles, but it could have been leaking from these caps. I made sure everything's tight now because I'll have to go back to the footage of when I did a video. Maybe you guys can remind me. Maybe I'll find out by the time I edit this. I don't think I did pressures and stuff on this. But I don't know, you know, I can't find a leak to save my life, but it was definitely low on refrigerant. So, all right, well, I'm gonna turn it back on, put everything back together. All right, well, we will talk to the customers, see what they want to do. If they want me to go any further on this, we could pull the charge and nitro test it, you know, and see if we have a standing pressure test and see if it holds, or we could just leave it be. I mean, realistically, they're probably just gonna leave it be. But we topped off the charge for now. It's operational. The unit's doing everything it can. It's strange. And I did go through my footage. I did not do a pressure test. I did not probe up on this because it was heating season. We fired up the heaters and that was it. So this was the first time we've ever put refrigerant gauges on this. But what's interesting, when you go through the history, it doesn't show they've been having a lot of problems, but it's also been really cold lately and they haven't had a huge demand for cooling. So I don't know. I don't know if this just happened. It could have been those caps that were loose. It's hard to say. So everything else is good. All the ACs are cleaned back up. I tried to hose down around everything. And to think, this all started as a water leak that wasn't even my problem. But it's big picture stuff, right? Not doing anything wrong, nothing shady, generating work by just looking at the big picture. So sometimes when we come into these restaurants, you know, it's not going to be our problem. And we have to be able to, if we can, within reason, prove that it's not our problem. At least that's the way that I try to do things, right? So they called me thinking that water was running off the roof. I found it wasn't, but I didn't stop there. I investigated a little bit further without messing with anything, because you don't want to actuate that valve or anything, because then you'll drain the system and set off the alarm, and you don't want to do that because there's a alarm when the water level drops. It sets off the fire alarm, and you know, just because they think the fire sprinklers have activated. And so you don't want to mess with any of that stuff. Don't get involved in things that you have no business being involved in. But I mean, just simply looking, investigating, listening, using your senses, you know, and I can find the problem and say definitively, this is your problem. You need to have the people look at this, right? And the manager was at her wit's end because she'd already had the fire sprinkler company out. She'd already had the plumbers out. And then they both said that it was my problem. And then I came out and I'm like, that's not my problem. That's the fire sprinkler's problem right there, you know? And right in your face, she goes, well, it all started right after they serviced the system. And when they service it, they'll drain it down. And then clearly there was probably just some sediment flowing in there. It's not really, I would say, anybody's fault per se. Like, in my opinion, the fire department or the fire sprinkler company came out, they serviced the system, they drained it down, they turned it back on, and then it started leaking. I mean, that's a valve that needs to be replaced. That's not a warranty item. Like, you know, that's an old valve. There's sediment in the system, something sticking. That's something they can charge for, you know? So I don't understand why people don't find these problems and fix them. I mean, that's totally not part of the maintenance, you know, of maintaining the system. I mean, the valve needs to be changed. Oftentimes, in my opinion, and I could be completely wrong about this, but in my opinion, someone just didn't want to dig into something that late in the day, and they were passing the buck off to someone else when clearly it's the fire sprinkler company's problem. So regardless, I didn't stop there because I had gone on the roof doing my due diligence to make sure it wasn't my problem and found some things on the roof. Again, with the manager's permission, saying, hey, I'm here. Would you like me to just service your ACs? We could just go through them getting ready because we're starting to get warmer weather. And she's like, yeah, please, you're here, right? So then we went through and we cleaned up the systems and got them running. Now, as far as the low charge, I did not find a leak on that system. So I'm starting to question whether or not it was simply just low from the factory. I don't know. We'll just have to keep our eye on it. It is kind of strange, though, that the alarms inside the core controller only started, you know, a couple weeks ago, a month ago, whatever it was. But who knows? You know, again, there's not much more I can do. So I topped off the charge. You know, we'll keep an eye on it. Next time we're out, we'll check on it again. But that's it. That's all we can do on this. You know, the customer got something for their money because I was charging them to come out there anyways, right? Now, granted, I spent a lot more time. I spent almost 7 hours cleaning everything up on that roof, but they needed it. The equipment needed it. I hosed off the walk-in condensers. You know, I didn't leave a 7-hour video, but, you know, it took me a while pulling the sides off, properly cleaning those units. That needs to happen more often because they tend to get grease buildup because of those exhaust fans, and we really need to do it. Now, for everybody that says, why don't we turn the AC? You know, a customer just hasn't really been interested in that stuff. So, you know, we just give them what we need, or, you know, we give them recommendations and they choose to not,
go with it, so be it. It's okay. You know, I mean, we just got to clean the coils a little bit more. So it is what it is, right? I really appreciate you making it to the end of the video. Thank you so very much. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It really does help with more subscribers. If you guys think this content is cool, you like it, please share it with your friends. Anybody that you think might enjoy it, help the channel to grow, that would be much appreciated. Again, I really do appreciate all your guys' views and everything, and the comments and everything. Feel free to leave me some comments down in the YouTube comments. Shoot me an email, hvacrvideos@gmail.com. If you have anything you want to talk to me about, just shoot it in there. I'll try to get back with you. If you're interested in supporting the channel, the easiest way to support this channel is literally watch the videos from beginning to end. That really is the easiest way. There's other ways too: PayPal, Patreon, and YouTube channel memberships. Those are all monthly commitments you can make. And then you can also support the channel by going to my website, hvacrvideos.com, where we have merchandise available, these hats, t-shirts, beanies, stickers, all that good stuff. Last but not least, if you see anything that I used in the video, the field piece job link probes, all that stuff, you can go to truetechtools.com. If you find something you like on their website, I have an affiliate code that'll get you a discount. Big picture, one word, at checkout. You enter that affiliate code. I get a small commission from that, and then on majority of the items on their website, you'll get an 8% discount. There's a few things it doesn't apply to, but that's another great way to help support the channel. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it, and we will catch you on the next one.